Senior Associate Director of Admission for Hanover College. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be with you tonight. I am so grateful for you to make time for us, and we hope that you get all of your questions answered and decide to take eventually the next step with Hanover College. So I've got an all-star lineup tonight. I'm super excited to introduce them to you. But before we get started with introductions, I just want to quickly sort of share with you my role and the scope of my responsibility and how I can assist you in any way with the application for admission or financial aid process. So I know we can't believe it. It's finally here, August 1 of your senior year. Congratulations, you made it. The application will go live on August 1. So we will start to accept those materials. We want to give you plenty of time to transition into either a virtual environment or perhaps if you're going back live, fantastic. We want to give you some time, though, to make sure that you get your senior year off to a fantastic start. So just because the application goes live on August 1, don't feel any pressure or stress related to having to get it in as soon as possible or as close to that date as possible. Just know that that's when that tool is available and open for you to use. We are a common application school. We also accept our institutional application. You can find those things hopefully on our website, and perhaps we'll throw that up here across the screen in just a bit. But really what I want to tell you is that Hanover practices holistic admission. We look at all of the pieces of the puzzle, making sure we have the appropriate context through which to make a really good admission decision and hopefully create a partnership with you that will lead to that next chapter within your life. So we look at the pieces of the application that are required, but we also look at things like the essay or resume or letters of recommendation. We look at personal statements. So perhaps recognizing that this year's been unlike any other, there might be some extenuating circumstances that you want to make us aware of and how those have perhaps impacted your academic progress. So Hanover, like I said, really does do applies a very careful process as it relates to making our admission decision, looking at the whole person, making sure we're taking all of the pieces of the puzzle into account, not only when determining if you're a good fit for the academic program, but also to determine what we might award you in scholarship. So we encourage all of our students to file the FAFSA. That goes live on October 1. That really is the tool that we have in order to maximize, the tool we have to use in order to maximize your consideration for full financial assistance in order to lower the cost of attendance. The other thing that I would recommend is that you apply no later than December 1. If after tonight you say, absolutely, you're my home away from home, and we hope you will, feel free to apply by November 1 if you're interested possibly in pursuing early decision. The terms of early decision as well as early action, that December 1 deadline that I mentioned, are available online. And as your admission team, we will be sending you a lot of communication in the future about those dates, those deadlines. And again, our practice or philosophy as it relates to holistic admission, looking at the entire person, making sure that we have all of the pieces of the puzzle in order to hopefully put together that financial aid offer, that admission offer that will allow you to continue your educational journey at Hanover. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my first batter. I guess I'd be the first batter, so you'd be my second guy, right? Chris Hitchcock.
Hi, everybody. My name's Chris Hitchcock. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions, Assistant Women's Basketball Coach at Hanover College. Just happened to be a 1997 graduate and also a legacy. Tonight, I'm here to help you with all things and assist May with admissions, but also to talk about our 23 athletic sports here at Hanover and give you a glimpse of what it would be like to be a student athlete on the campus. Looking forward to the evening. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Batting third for us tonight is DJ Walsh. DJ.
Hi, everyone. My name is DJ Walsh, and I'm one of our assistant directors in student life and also the director of the Benjamin Templeton Scholars Program. Some of the things that kind of touch our office are we also help in counseling. So those are some services that we offer students. It's also campus safety. And then I'm also part of what's called our student involvement team. And so I work closely with our student organizations, serve as an advisor to our student senate, and work to get students connected and building community on campus.
And then batting cleanup, one of my favorites, Katie Lowe-Schneider. Katie.
Thanks, Amay, and thanks everyone for joining us tonight. It's really exciting to see you. I'm Katie Lowe-Schneider. I'm the Associate Provost for Student Success, and my responsibility at Hanover is to help students move from orientation to graduation. So I look forward to talking to you about that.
Awesome. Thank you all so much, our panelists, for being here tonight. We are just lighting up, folks. So we've got lots of questions. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started and run down the order in which they appear. I encourage all of our participants tonight. This is what I'm going to call the honest closet, right? The trust tree. So put forward to us anything that might be on your mind so that we can answer those questions, provide you with the information that you're seeking. And if we don't know the answer, we can sure put you in touch with somebody who does. So let's go ahead and get started. This is a real quick one that I can handle. Do you require specific SAT or ACT scores? Hanover College is test optional. We do not require you to submit an SAT or ACT in order to complete your application for admission. If you hit it out of the park, my son's a baseball player, so I keep using all these baseball analogies. So if you hit it out of the park and you want us to see your score, fantastic. But please don't feel as though if you don't think that score reflects your best you, that you need to submit a test. We don't need to see it. We are a test optional institution and really use the foundation of your high school transcript, your academic performance, the rigor of those courses in order to make our admission decisions. There's another question posed asking how long after the application is submitted will we know if we've been accepted? So once the school year really gets underway, we anticipate being able to release notifications, I would say late September, early October. So naturally, the earlier you apply and complete your application, the sooner you're going to hear. But we know, like I said in the beginning, it takes some time for you to acclimate and get up and running in your senior year for your counselors to submit transcripts, write that essay, get that letter of recommendation. So we will start to release in September of 2020 and probably at the end of the month, and then continue. Usually, I mean, we try to read them as quickly and efficiently as we possibly can to turn around an admission decision. So they're on a rolling basis after that. The next question, Katie, I'm going to pitch this to you perhaps. Because you and even DJ are well aware of all of the safety measures and precautions and efforts we're making to keep our students safe and healthy. Do you know if there are still plans to perhaps at some point allow for overnight visitors? So overnight guests, recognizing there are some limitations currently with how many people can be in a room. Do we anticipate being able to possibly lift those and offer overnight visits for seniors this fall? I'll go to Katie. You want to try that one?
Sure. I think that we're still working on those plans. I don't anticipate that we'll be lifting those outside visitation restrictions until probably we're a month or more into school and we kind of see how things go with everybody back. And DJ, if you have more specific information on that, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say my understanding of it is initially we're going to go with kind of our safest plan. And then as things change, I know that our campus is really kind of planning to be fluid and having the opportunity to make adjustments as we gain more information. And so right now that's not being talked about, but whenever some of the cases might be looking better within our state, I think that'll kind of be a lot more allowable and an easier decision for us to make.
Awesome. I appreciate your answer. It's kind of a tough one. So I apologize that I threw you guys kind of a curveball there with that. But I think it's important that everyone know that we are in close collaboration with Student Life, Health Services, making sure that each and every visit we open up is done safely to ensure the health and well-being, not only of our prospective visitors, our prospective students, but our current students, faculty, and staff. Chris Hitchcock, Coach, this one's for you. What are the benefits of Division III athletics?
Oh, what a great question.
Yeah.
That's really a two-part answer, because I think at Hanover College, you are a student athlete and the student part comes first, but certainly we are highly competitive in our athletics. So let me just kind of speak towards the student part. Our student athletes are rarely missing class. They still have the experience to be active and involved on campus in our 70 clubs and organizations while being a student athlete. They can still go overseas and study, especially during the May term in our international classes. They can still have work study and be on top of their game academically, and still be in classroom and still be an athlete. I will also say, from the athletic point of view, what an awesome experience it would be to be a Hanover athlete. We are highly competitive in 23 sports. We have won the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference Commissioner's Cup for the last 2 years. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's an all-sport trophy and how you finish in the conference. We've sent numerous teams to the NCAA tournament. We've won numerous HCAC championships. We do have the only full-time sports for performance coach in our conference. So just a few things like that. And quite honestly, I think at Division III and at Hanover College, a student athlete is the purest form of the athlete, because you are here with people who have a passion for playing sports, but understand their academics and achievements that they want to succeed beyond Hanover.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. What I would also offer is that we're close to probably 45% of our student body are varsity athletes, and we still have that 4-year guarantee, and we still have that high first to second year retention rate along with that 4-year graduation rate. So the focus really is at Hanover on being a student who also happens to have a passion for athletics. So I always like to tout that information as well. I think it's good information for our student athletes who are thinking about trying to balance both. You will be supported here as a student first and foremost, and then have the privilege and the benefit and pleasure of getting to play that sport that you love. So thank you, Coach. That's an awesome response. Buenas noches, Abel. I'm going to do my best to translate your question, leaning on the Spanish that I learned while at Hanover College. And your question, I believe, is asking about financial assistance for international students, as you are a student from Ecuador. So how would we offer financial assistance? Well, we're going to look largely at academics. So the strength of your academic profile, your academic performance, the strength of the school that you're coming from. So that will be how we assign to you merit scholarship. There is not need-based scholarship available for our students who are coming from abroad, but we do have aggressive merit aid based on the strength of your academic profile. So I hope that answers your question. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to dust off some Espanol. It's always good practice for me to be able to do that. So, Chris, I'm going to throw this one back to you, because I've kind of talked a lot about admission, and I'd love for you as one of my colleagues in the Office of Admission to share a little bit about sort of, this is coming from Mackenzie. What do you look for when a student applies? GPA, SAT, ACT, we already discussed that, but what are some things that we as a team are looking for in students who make applications successfully to Hanover College?
Yeah, and I think you hit it when you started the live feed. We're kind of looking at the whole person, and so your GPA obviously is something we're looking at. We are test optional, but a chance to read a really good essay. Make sure that you are putting yourself forward and being honest and upfront with who you are as a person, and not trying to hide behind anything. I think when we are evaluating the application, we want to see what kind of activities and leadership roles you've been in, and involvements in clubs and organizations. We want you to highlight yourself. And this is one of those times it's okay to brag about what you've done and those accomplishments that you've done extracurricularly, co-curricularly, and then also in the classroom. And obviously with our competitive scholarships, we were looking for some specific things. And DJ, I don't know if you want to speak towards the Templeton scholarship process at all.
Awesome.
Yeah, one of our scholarship programs is the Benjamin Templeton Scholarship. It was named after the first Black student to attend Hanover College back in the early days before the Emancipation Proclamation. And so that's something that is a really important historical layer to our institution. And so what we have with the Templeton Scholarship is a full tuition scholarship that is awarded to about 10-ish students each year, and I guess to each class coming into the college. And with those students, I guess what we look for in those students are student leaders that are really, really committed and passionate about inclusion work, multiculturalism, social justice, and human rights. And so there will be an application process that will kind of be promoted. So make sure that you're watching your emails if you're getting emails from Hanover College, and be on the lookout for those things, because that is a process that happens generally around the January time, and I believe those applications open in December.
Awesome. Thank you, DJ. I'm going to pitch to the next question. Hopefully, looks like we might have had a little glitch in the matrix, but hopefully we're back in action. So this next question, I'm going to pitch it to Katie, because Katie, one of your responsibilities is focusing on student success and retention. So what are the helpful habits or tips and strategies for our current seniors that they want to be working on right now and really sharpening or honing in on in order to transition successfully into the Hanover College academic experience? So what's it take to be successful in the senior year in high school? Same tools, I'm sure, that it takes to be successful as a senior at Hanover College. So what are some of those tools or tips and strategies you would offer those students?
Sure. Great question. Thanks, Ame. I think that this class, 2021, you're just going to be so far ahead, because resilience and problem solving are the two tools that I think help students be successful at Hanover. And by that, I mean learning how to troubleshoot problems on your own. So if you don't understand an assignment, asking the teacher clarifying questions, using your peer group, being willing to use your resources. So at Hanover, we have the latest learning center, and if you need help, being willing to come forward and ask for that is really important. So I really feel like those problem solving skills and really working hard, your parents maybe being the people. And the other thing that I would say is open yourself up to new relationships, because as you come to college, you're going to have the opportunity to meet your roommate, your hallmates, your classmates, and oftentimes high school is a safe and comfortable environment. And so this year, challenge yourself to get to know somebody you might not know. Talk to a person whose experience might be a little different than yours. Open yourself up to those kinds of opportunities as well.
Katie, that's awesome advice. For the rest of my panelists, is there any advice that you would offer as it relates to tips and strategies on how to navigate and be successful in this senior year, but that also translate forward to ensuring your success as a student or even student athlete or student artist at Hanover College?
I think that one of the things that is important about the Hanover College experience is that it's a residential experience. And so I think that maybe talking to people that live independently to talk about, maybe learn about what moving away might look like, and what are some of those life skills that you might want to pick up on. If you're not a person that's used to doing your own laundry, or used to kind of taking responsibility of building your own schedule and having responsibility for time management, absolutely identify those things and work on them, and find a good mentor or someone that has had those experiences that can be able to help work you setting up systems that work for you.
Awesome. Thanks, DJ. How about you, Coach?
Yeah, I think there's two parts to the answer, May. I think number one, if you're a student athlete right now, you might be going through some bad news or some unsure news about whether or not you're going to participate in your sport. So if you're concerned about that, our coaches are completely aware of your situation. We're going through the same thing too at the college level. They'll be happy to connect with you and reach out with you. They'll be happy to evaluate video from last year or give you time that you need to play your sport in the spring. So don't feel like you're missing out on a situation. Feel free to connect with our coaches. We have a really strong athletic website at www.hanover.edu/athletics. And you can contact any of our 23 sport coaches in that manner. And then the other thing I would say from the admissions side of the role is in considering your courses that you're going to take your senior year, and maybe this will take place in the spring, is to take some college readiness classes to prepare yourself for the rigors of college academics. And I know that sometimes the easy way seems to be the best way, but is that going to serve you the best when you get to Hanover or any other college you decide to go to?
So Chris, you're my winner tonight. You just hit a triple. You're my big hitter because you literally answered 3 questions that were right there without even knowing it. So again, that athletics website for our students who are asking, how can I get some recognition from the coaches or get in contact with the coach who leads the sport that I'm interested in playing for, swimming for, what have you. So that information, again, available on our website, and we'll, I'm sure, provide that at the end of the evening, or perhaps below on that fantastic crawler I keep seeing. So that's how we depend heavily on those athletic referrals, those electronic athletic referrals that are self-initiated by students. But I know also it's safe to say Hanover has an excellent reputation as it relates to within our athletic conference, or just within the always high school coaches excited to maybe share with our coaches prospective students who might be a good fit for their programs as well. So a lot of times I tell my students, hey, talk to your coach, let your coach know I'm looking for a Division III school that's smaller, that's maybe in a rural location, but where I can really feel like the focus is on academics, but then also high level athletics. And so a lot of times then coaches think to themselves, oh, hey, Hanover, you should try Hanover and maybe reach out. So I would make sure to let your village know what you're interested in and the types of schools that you're interested in, but then also going online and filling out that prospective athlete questionnaire. Unfortunately, Abel, and I can read this one again, so thank you again for testing my Espanol. We do not offer 100% scholarships for international students. So that is not an option, but certainly we try to be as aggressive as we can with our merit-based scholarships. We do not offer a specific degree in nutrition. That's another question that was posed. However, I would encourage you, if you are interested in that field, to possibly consider chemistry. Chemistry is often a great foundational degree for students who are interested in nutrition. So they use that as their foundation and then would secure that more specific training and education in the field of chemistry, or excuse me, nutrition at the master's level. So you've got this great option of all of the flexibility that comes with a degree in chemistry, or perhaps even kinesiology and physiology, all of that flexibility with the undergraduate. And then we offer to you, just based on the strength of those particular programs, lots of support, internships, experiential learning, ways in which you can kind of hone in on those areas that relate to nutrition, and then apply for a more specific program at the master's level. And then that really does give you the best of both worlds. I know that nutrition, the field of nutrition, is trending more toward a master's level field when we look at the requirements in order to work in that field. So Hanover definitely can give you that base degree, that foundational degree to get you to those credentials. Let's see. Unfortunately, we do not have an ROTC program on campus, but thank you certainly for your service and for being a part of that program. Let's see. What other questions do I have? These are awesome questions, you guys. Okay. How do I know if a school is the right fit for me? How do I find that right fit, right? Let's start. DJ, I'm going to start with you on this one. When you see students as they progress through the Hanover experience, what are those kind of foundational sort of pieces that they say, this is why Hanover?
Absolutely. I would say one of the things that Hanover does really well is cultivating a really strong sense of community. I think that there's an intimacy that comes with our campus environment, our small class sizes, and also the number of students that are in team-based things like our athletics teams, as well as our different student organizations. So I do think that there's a lot of opportunities for folks to find their people. And one of my favorite events that happens each year is right before our first day of classes. We host our student involvement fair, in which all of our clubs and organizations will come together. They'll table, they'll have some information and some handouts and giveaways. And that is an opportunity for students to walk around, learn about all the student-initiated opportunities for involvement that exist on campus. And that is a really, really good way for students to find their people. I would say in particular, Hanover's environment, I would say sometimes we can talk about living in a Hanover bubble, and with that, I would say comes a lot of really good and solid and warm feelings. So I would kind of lean heavily towards our campus environment as being a really welcoming one and very community oriented, as well as a lot of formal opportunities for students to connect with each other in clubs and organizations or in other primary involvements, whether those are Greek chapters, our athletic teams, or maybe kind of some academically initiated research projects.
Awesome. Love it. Katie, how about you?
I think that one of the things that I would say in finding your place is that the kinds of questions you're asking tonight, ask those questions. Be curious about the kind of academic experience that you would have. Go to some classes. Even in the spring, some students were able to attend virtual classes, but you can still make an individual visit to Hanover right now. I think those are the kinds of things, because the Hanover experience, where you have that one-on-one contact with your professor and you're learning with your peers, that's really important to us. And you're expected to participate and have ideas and ask questions. And so to me, that academic experience, and we don't expect you to know at this point what you want to major in or what program you're interested in. We just want you to come and experience the Hanover classroom experience, that academic experience. I think that's really important. Great.
How about you, Coach?
Yeah, I think my colleagues have said some great things. I think when you look at Hanover, I think it comes down to some three big factors. We've already talked about the academic piece, and whether that be our smaller class sizes, our 99% graduate in placement rate and job placement rate. Maybe it's a paid internship or our awesome internship programs. The outcomes are our travel abroad classes. The second, and DJ touched upon this, is community. Hanover is a very inclusive community. Lots of opportunities to be involved and engaged in student athletics or campus clubs and organizations, or philanthropic or social opportunities, including our 4 Greek houses. And then lastly is you need to explore our financial options, our merit scholarships, our competitive scholarships, our financial aid, and make sure that Hanover is the right fit in all 3 of those things.
Absolutely. That's awesome advice, you guys. So that gives you a little bit of what we're like, but also some tips on what you want to look for in trying to find that perfect fit. The advice that I offer to my students is try it on, try it on, try it on, try it on. Visit, follow their social media, visit again, right? But try it on, and see if it fits. I have a good friend who gave this really great advice that I've been using as well with students, which is, what do I need versus what do I want, right? So sometimes just starting there helps you create the foundation or structure of the type of school that you are interested in pursuing, right? So if you're a student who says, I want to be close to home. Well, right there, you've narrowed the funnel, right? Gone from this to this, right? If you're a student who says, I want marine biology, well, chances are you're probably not going to study someplace that's landlocked, right? So I think it's really important that students make that list. This is what I need in order to be successful and be my best self. This is what I want. So these are the negotiables. It would be great if you have this, but if you don't, you've still got everything that I need in order to ensure that I'm going to be successful. So make those lists, those pros and cons lists. I also tell my students with every visit and return visit, you should want a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. If you find yourself leaving the visit and just feeling kind of anxious and like, I don't think that fits. That's going to be a really uncomfortable shoe halfway into the dance, right? Then take it off. Go get your money back. Like, don't keep those shoes. I think it's really important that you try it on, make sure you're comfortable, make sure it fits well, and that with each return visit, you feel more and more confident that this is the right fit for you. So awesome questions, you guys. Keep them coming. Let's see. We talked a little bit about, so we answered a little bit more in depth about fit. I can't really rank sort of what I would say would be the priority as it relates to it should feel like this, it should fit like this. Those should be the top two. But I would say you want to have a comprehensive sort of series of sort of boxes that particular institution, that near perfect institution would check. And to Coach Hitchcock's point, Chris, that was spot on, needs to be a financial fit as well for you and your family. Okay, so the next question I have coming from Micah. From whom does the admission office like to see letters of recommendation? Should they be scholastic, service-driven, or social? So, Chris, would you mind to answer that for us?
I would say the answer is yes. I think it should be all three. And I think if you are, when you're applying to Hanover, you can provide a very solid academic reference, but also a person that can judge your character and integrity, and then also that knows your leadership opportunities and roles. Those can all be helpful in the admissions process.
Awesome. I would just add to that, they need to be authentic letters of recommendation. And so a tip or strategy that I would offer to my students is always make sure that you allow plenty of time when requesting a letter of recommendation. If you're trying to hit that December 1 deadline, then November 30th is not the time to ask someone to write a genuine and authentic, thorough letter of recommendation. So make sure that you're giving plenty of lead time to those folks from whom you are requesting this. I would also say add a copy of your resume to the request, because sometimes folks may only know you in a couple of capacities, but they would use those other ways in which they don't know you to underscore what's really awesome about what they do know about you, if that makes sense. So I would encourage my students, make sure that they're authentic, they're genuine, you give plenty of lead time. The other thing that I would tell you is that letterhead doesn't impress us. So that's fantastic that you live 2 doors down from the CFO or CEO of a Fortune 500 company. But if the only thing that CFO or CEO can tell me is that he offers to shovel my driveway and sells Boy Scout popcorn, he seems like a nice kid, like I don't have majors in any of those areas, right? There's not really anything I can do with those things. So make sure that you are choosing someone who really, truly knows you, your authentic self, and can write that genuine letter of recommendation. Don't try to, as sometimes students are inclined to do, search for the highest title, the biggest title that they think might sway our admission decision. So great questions about that specifically. Thank you for asking about sort of the pieces of the application. This question is coming to us from Becky. Might you consider allowing prospective students to attend a class via Zoom if site visits are not possible, or offer a virtual day in the life? And the answer is yes. We just talked about those things today, and we are excited to move forward in our opportunities opportunities to collaborate, identify for ways for us to collaborate with our faculty to determine how best to provide students with a peek inside the classroom, because we know that's a big piece of your decision is the environment, the interaction with your faculty, just the sense of the classroom, how that runs and what the expectations are, how we deliver content, both hands-on, but also that traditional lecture and research and reading across the curriculum, all of those pieces. So yes, absolutely. We are going to work very hard to try and make that happen. So keep coming back to our website, stay in touch with your admission counselor. That was one of the questions that was posed earlier. Will I be assigned an admission counselor? You will. And we are here to shepherd you throughout the entire process. So I'm still working with my class of 2020 students and texting with them regularly and calling them regularly to help ensure a smooth transition to, when they move in here just around the corner. I'm so excited. So yes, let's see. When is the deadline to submit my application? We spoke about that. Specifically, we want to make sure that you maximize your consideration for any and all financial aid, scholarships, and so forth you might be eligible for, so the sooner the better. I encourage my students, if they can hit that November 1 deadline, because they know Hanover's in my top 3 and I just know you are a serious contender, then go ahead and get it done, get it off your plate. Because with the senior year, there'll certainly be something to take its place. But definitely by December 1, I would encourage you to submit to your application, because that will, as I said, maximize your consideration for not only admission, but for scholarships, in particular, those competition-based scholarships that we offer. Chris, I'm going to pitch this to you again. We've got a lot of athletes in the crowd tonight, which is great. So what percentage of students at Hanover are a part of competitive sports teams? You might know that. I think I threw that percentage out. But then also, can you speak a little bit more about some of the support or wraparound services that are offered to our student athletes, be it nutrition and wellness, academic support, that type of thing?
Yeah, excellent. And I probably will be handing this one off to Katie a little bit too. First of all, I really think that from an athletic standpoint, we have an outstanding sports performance person, and his name is Alex Macon. He has improved both our physical, mental, well-being of student athletes. They train to be prepared for the field, but also to just enhance their lives overall. Academically, I know the coaches and almost every coach promotes a study table or a study hall of some kind. They'll have one-on-one meetings with their student athletes to make sure that they're on track academically. We definitely would contact our friends over in the Student Success and Gladish Learning Center. So I'll let Katie speak to that a little bit. But you are definitely not going to fall through the cracks at Hanover College. There's lots of advocates for you academically and socially. And so, Katie, you want to answer the part academically?
Sure, absolutely. About 45% of our students are athletes, so a little more than a third. And just let me reintroduce myself, because I know we've had some people jump in on the call. I'm the Associate Provost for Student Success, and I work with the Gladish Learning Center. And in the Gladish Learning Center, just like Chris said, we work closely with our athletic teams and our athletic staff. Some of the athletic teams have study hours in the Learning Center, in the library. We have tutors available in every subject. I work really closely with coaches when a student might be struggling with a particular class to match them with a tutor that could help them. A big class that students sometimes have challenges with is chemistry, Chemistry 161, Introduction to Chemistry. And so we work to help match a student with a tutor that might be able to meet on their time around their athletic schedules, which are sometimes a little more complex. The other thing that I want to talk about, and I think is really exciting for this year, is that we have tutor hours one-on-one in the Learning Center, which is located in the library, but we also have virtual tutoring available kind of throughout the day from 8 a.m. until midnight. So a student can say, hey, I need a tutor, and they can arrange with that tutor to do things via Zoom. To get back to a question someone asked earlier, we're doing classes in all kinds of modalities this fall, which I think for a prospective student is exciting, because there's all kinds of classes you could Zoom in on, that you could join in a hybrid format. You could participate in the forum discussion in a particular class. So I actually think that we're going to see some really rich opportunities for our prospective students to explore the academic experience at Hanover in ways that we haven't been able to before. So we're looking forward to that.
That's awesome, Katie. And if I can ask you just sort of an addendum to that, let's say, and this was certainly my experience, I had a late diagnosed learning difference sophomore year in college. What kinds of opportunities would there be for me as a student at Hanover to secure support for a documented learning difference? And do I have to have that documentation to secure the tutorial assistance, or is that available to everyone? Is it free of charge? Sort of what's the process for those who have the documentation like I had, or students who don't have documentation, but boy, they're really struggling to make it through, keep their head above water, maybe that chemistry class?
Sure, absolutely. So we have an Office of Accessibility Services, which is run through the Gladish Learning Center, and any student is welcome to use that service. If you have, a lot of times we call them an IEP, an individual education plan in high school. We want you to bring that to us so we can understand what were the things that helped you be successful in high school. You don't have to have documentation to get assistance. So if one of the things that you're finding when you get to college is that maybe you're struggling with test taking and you never had that before, come and talk with us. We'll map out a plan. If a diagnosis is necessary, we'll work with you to hook you up with resources that can help do that. But there's all kinds of levels of support that we do. We have something called student success tutors. One of the things that we see sometimes when students come to college, there's just a lot more things to manage in terms of your time. And sometimes it's helpful to sit down with a peer and talk with that peer about, gosh, how do you figure out what's due and when it's due and all those things? So we offer that service too through the Learning Center and through accessibility services particularly.
Awesome. Thank you. DJ, you want to add?
Yeah, I just also wanted to spotlight that you can also utilize the Office of Accessibility Services in order to get accommodations within our residents' life environment too. So if there are any specific needs that you need, it is a residential campus, you live here, and so just kind of acknowledging that a lot of those services and accommodations that students might be seeking can be offered outside of the classroom as well.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. That's great information and an awesome question. Thank you so much for posing that to us. I've got another question here related to student life. So I'll pitch to both of you, and whoever swings first and connects, great. We have a student asking, what is the RA process at Hanover? And could a student balance becoming a member of Greek life and an RA? Can you do both?
Absolutely. One of my responsibilities in my position is I supervise our hall directors that work within our upper class communities. And so I guess our housing is kind of divided in first year students and continuing students. But we do have RAs that are Greek students. We have RAs that are athletes on many different sports teams, both that are fall athletes and RAs that are spring athletes. There is basically an acknowledgement. If 45% of our student body is, an athlete, I believe we're nearly half in terms of our student population that's Greek. So when we kind of look at those numbers, we absolutely think that it's very important to have students that are involved in those ways that they can connect with folks. So absolutely, those are things that we really appreciate from our candidates whenever they have kind of diverse involvement on campus. Our RA process generally begins in January, and the application would happen for the following academic year. And so it'd be over the course of January and February. You would have some sort of application process, group and individual interviews, and then after that, you would move into kind of our pre-employment training, in which you would learn about what our expectations are of RAs and receive your RA contracts.
Awesome. Awesome. Katie, you want to add anything to that? She's good, she says. All right, awesome. Okay, so student faculty ratio at Hanover College, we are 12-1, I believe, was the most recent statistic that I saw published. Average class size, I want to say, of around 17. So the thing I love about Hanover, and you'll hear us, if you play this back, you're going to hear this theme of a community of care, a true community of care, and a comprehensive community of care. So some of my most favorite relationships that I walked away from Hanover with were those that I had with my faculty members. Those folks who were just so influential in helping me figure out my life path for that time in my life. I had a couple of professors who I just loved their teaching style. And so even though the discipline that they were in was outside of my particular major, I made sure that I took as many of their electives as possible, or of those electives that they taught as possible, because I just was so excited to have the opportunity to learn from these individuals. But what I love about our faculty is the fact that because we have those small class sizes, because nearly a third, if not more of them, live on the Hanover College campus, and I want to say close to 80+% of our faculty live within the town of Hanover or Madison, Indiana. Madison, that was another question. What's the closest larger town? That would be Madison, Indiana. Beautiful town on the river. Lots of great history there. And then a couple miles from Clifty Falls State Park. So come again, check us out. But you'll find that theme of that community of care, that comprehensive, making sure, hey, noticed you weren't in class. Don't want to pry, but is everything okay? Is everything okay? And feeling that comfort and being able to seek out not only academic support when you need it, but personal support. I got some great life coaching from my advisor, Dr. Dee Gertz, and I'm still to this day so grateful for her. What a wonderful relationship with Dr. Thornton, some other just fantastic faculty who really helped shape my Hanover experience. So that's one of the reasons why we keep it small. You know, we're proud of that. That's something we embrace because it allows us to, like I said, make sure we are providing that comprehensive community of care for our students. Does Hanover College accept dual credit classes? We do. So provided you receive a course grade of C or higher, and it's coming from an accredited institution and at the 100 level or higher, absolutely, we would complete what's called a transfer credit evaluation for you in advance. Something that our registrar's office has been awesome in helping us with, so students can kind of see how that would translate as it relates to degree progression. But yes, we absolutely would accept dual credit classes, that credit. We also accept AP coursework credit as long as you have a 4 or higher in the AP exam. And then on IB, using the higher level, I believe the course score the exam score is a 5 or higher for that. What's it like living on campus? DJ, you mentioned the Hanover bubble. Can you talk a little bit more about life inside the bubble, but also that beautiful, rich and vibrant life that we see in places like Lower Madison?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I guess what it's like to live on campus. Our residence halls and our Greek houses kind of have a few different living arrangements. So we have traditional style residence halls in which it'll be 2 students in a room. I would say a vast majority of our first year spaces are that living option. And one of the things that I think that does really well is cultivate a really, really strong sense of community. Because those are spaces in which students will be accessing and meeting one another, going to and from the restroom, going to and from classes. And so I would say that in our first year communities in particular, there's a really, really strong sense of community that happens there. We also do have students that live within our Greek houses. And so if you do come to Hanover, you decide that you want to go Greek, living in house is one of those options that students really like to pursue so that they can live in a community of folks that have similar values as themselves. I would say one of the things that really surprised me, I'm about to start my 4th year at Hanover College. And one of the things that really caught me off guard was thinking I've never been at a rural institution. I moved here from Sacramento, California. What would that be like? And one of the things that I was really not prepared for was how much there is to do because students create that opportunity. So we have 65 clubs in addition to 8 Greek fraternities and sororities. And so we have 4 men's Greek organizations, 4 women's Greek organizations, and about 65 to 67 clubs that register each year. And if you think about all of those clubs are having events, hosting socials, hosting workshops, and the student life office is also hosting bingos, we're hosting trivia nights, we're hosting opportunities for students to connect. And then you're also thinking about, all of the things that professors are hosting on campus with invited lecturers. Sometimes there's too many options of what to do in an evening, and so that can be overwhelming. And so I'd say the campus life is really vibrant, And I would say a large part of that is our residential campus community, specifically because people are here and then they sense that, we need to create the type of involvement and the type of experiences that we want to have. And they work really, really hard to do that. And that's something that I would say is a true blessing that our campus really gets to benefit from. I'd say in terms of living in Hanover itself, we're really close to Madison. And so Hanover is a nice community. You can get your needs met. If you want to graduate to like a medium-sized city, that is really accessible. We have a shuttle service on campus that provides transportation to and from Madison a few days a week. Students also would be able to get there with their own personal vehicles. And then also our location is pretty central to Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and the Louisville metro areas. And so one thing that I also really appreciate is whenever we consider some of those offerings that might be happening in cities, we don't necessarily ignore those as opportunities for students to become involved and connect with one another. We have a series called our Omnibus program, in which we have student drivers that will go and take people to Broadway shows that are touring through the areas. They've gone to Colts games, they've gone to Pacers games, they've gone to Reds games, they go to different theme parks. Any sort of large community event that happens out there, we provide those for students at a very, very reduced cost, or most often free. I'd say generally in the past we've only charged for like one of those, and that is our annual ski trip that we do. So I would say that we're really located in a really vibrant area where there's a lot of opportunity if you're willing to hop in a car, drive a little bit of a way, or walk across the street to go to our campus center.
I love it. Katie or Chris, do you want to add anything to that?
I would love to. As a resident of on-campus housing here, we sit on 650 beautiful acres. So yes, we're nationally ranked among all beautiful campuses. And the one thing I would say, though, is the spirit of campus is definitely missing when our students are not here. This is an absolutely gorgeous place to live and bring your family to enjoy. But in terms of the life of our campus, it is the students that bring that life. And so we are eager to anticipate a return here in August with our students back on campus.
Awesome. How about you, Kate?
And one more thing I would add is we have a program called the OWL program, which is the Outdoor Wilderness Leadership Program. And so through that program, there's opportunities for hikes, for camping trips, for kayak trips. But we also have a brand new challenge course here on campus. So many of you have probably participated in a ropes course or something similar. And we're going to do that here on campus. And that will be peer facilitated and is located out by our football stadium and the shoebox. And it's just in a beautiful location. There's waterfalls right on the other side of it. And those kinds of things are right here on campus. And to me, that's a real advantage of Hanover. A lot of students would have to go off campus for those kinds of experience. But on our campus, we have a nationally marked hiking trail. There's 7 different trails, the Darrell L. R. Carnes Memorial Trail System. And so if you want to, on a random day, say, hey, after class, let's go on a hike, you can pick and do that. And I think that's a real advantage to who we are.
Love it, you guys. That's great information. I know that we're coming up on the hour, so we have a couple more questions that we will answer for our students and others who might be joining them for tonight's chat. We've still got time, so I can do a lightning round. So please don't hesitate to throw up those last minute questions that are just now popping into your mind. Or also, I believe we've already linked, and we will continue to do so, how to get in touch with your admission counselor, as well as the general website for admission and possibly athletics. So we'll make sure to keep the content coming to help answer those questions that pop up as a result of tonight's time with you together, which we're so grateful that you made time for us tonight. But let's go ahead and try and answer these last 2 questions. I'll take this one, you guys, if you don't mind. The question is, what should my essay be about? Do I have to write one? So here's what I'm going to tell you. And not just because I was an English major and I love to write, okay? I'll put that bias out there. But what I tell my students is your essay lends the voice to the bones of the application, okay? It creates the person behind what I consider those flat data pieces, right? A GPA, maybe an SAT or ACT, a transcript. Those things all speak to your performance and ability, right? But they don't necessarily tell me who you are. And so I encourage my students, even though it is not required, to submit an essay. Needs to be about you, right? And so the Common App will have a series of questions that they pose. You can choose one of those prompts. One of the prompts from our institutional application will work as well, depending on which platform you use to apply. But don't write what you think I want to hear. I'm a 40-plus-year-old woman. I know you thought 29, but I am getting up there closer to 50, and we really shouldn't have anything in common, right? So don't feel as though you need to write in a way that you think will really affect me and impact me as it relates to a shared or common experience. I think so often students think, what does she want to hear? I really want to make sure I say what she wants to hear. I want to hear your story. I want to hear who you are. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear about you, right? And so let me hear your voice by providing that essay. The other thing that I will tell you is that 9 times out of 10 for additional scholarship consideration, you're going to have an essay in the holster. So why not go ahead and have it ready and prepared with the rest of your admission materials? And that way, if for a competitive scholarship that you may be nominated for, there's an essay requirement, you've already got one, right? You're ready to go. You've got it there, and you can use it to apply for that additional financial aid consideration, excuse me. I think we all sort of talked a little bit about this. You know, one thing I should do in August to prepare for applying, get organized, make sure you've got the dates and deadlines that you need in order to hit those targets. Make sure, like I said, you're offering plenty of lead time to anyone you may be requesting information from. That includes your registrar to secure a transcript, your counselor if they're responsible for that process, those folks who might be writing letters of recommendation. So just be prepared. And the other thing I would tell you is be confident. Be confident in who you are. Look at what you've come through. Look at that grit, that perseverance that Katie mentioned. My gosh, you guys, this class of 2021 is just going to do amazing things. And we're so excited to hopefully share in that next part of your educational journey. So we've got time for a really quick lightning round question before we shut it down tonight. I'm going to ask each of us to just answer, maybe using one word, what you consider to be the beauty of Hanover College. So what is that for you, Coach?
Community.
Love it. Love it. And how about you, Katie?
I think for me, it's individuality.
Love it. Love it. DJ?
I would say care.
Yeah. Absolutely. Love it. I'm going to go with the physical beauty of campus. Just every time I drive back to my beloved alma mater, I am amazed that I got to spend 4 awesome years on 650 of the most beautiful acres you will ever find, right? So just the physical beauty, which then naturally transitions into, I think, the community of care, collaboration, celebrating individually, all of those things that really, I think, in my mind, define and make up the beauty of Hanover College. So thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Be strong, be resilient, persevere, keep doing what you're doing, you guys. Class of 2021 is going to rock it, and we are here to help in any way. So let us know how we can. Thank you for joining us. Be safe, be well, and go Panthers.